Hello everyone and welcome back to another Universe Sandbox video, and today we're going to be evolving another custom solar system from birth to death. Now I've seen that you guys have wanted a lot more of these. I've seen them in the comments, but obviously I haven't recently been able to do them because I've been doing the history of Universe Sandbox, but now that's all done, we can get on to evolving more custom solar systems from birth to death. So yeah, I know you guys have been waiting for it, and honestly I've been quite looking forward to doing more of these. So yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into this. And also, one thing for today, we're doing this in update 23.2 as I want to try it before the surface grid stuff, because back in these updates, star temperatures and luminosities, they were a lot more effective from my experience. So we're gonna see sort of what chaos we can cause with this. So without further ado, we're gonna go over star. What star are we thinking? Obviously, we're going to start with something small, so we're going to have like a proto-star. Then we'll go for something pretty large. So, I kind of want to use a star like Arcturus, but obviously I need to devolve it a bit, because obviously this star is quite far ahead in its time. So we need to make sure these stats go a lot lower. So I'm going to lock the mass, but I'm going to really hurt its luminosity. So we're going to turn it back into sort of a proto-star. We're going to have it as a very, very young variant. So we're going to make its luminosity, yeah, fairly dim. So if we make it here, okay, so this is our new star. So obviously temperature's fairly high. It's got slightly more mass than the sun. If we look here, luminosity wise, yeah, it's not very bright. So we're going to start it off at about 1.02 suns. That's quite yeah, we're going to halve that. So it's going to start fairly low at 0.5 suns. This is our new proto star. So Arcturus. I'm going to go ahead and save. So we're just going to call it B to D, so birth to death. We'll just call it BD1. So there we are. Okay, so now, obviously, we've got a star, so our star has just formed out of a planetary nebula or remains of a supernova. So now, obviously, we're going to need material to get some planets formed. So we're going to go from, we'll go manual, we'll just have it as white so we can spot the objects easy. We're going to go from 0.001 AU, we're going to go all the way out to about 100 AU. Nice sort of range of stuff. So if we spawn it in, we may need to go to realistic lighting just so we can actually see these. So there you go. Okay, so I think that's a nice sort of ring of material there. And actually what I'll do as well is I'm going to go for a closer sort of ring, so it goes 0.1 AU, but this time I only want it going to about 10 AU, so we're going to have like a sort of inner and outer solar system ring. Go from manual. Okay, there you go. So a nice sort of layer of material, and then we'll go from 10 AU, I'm going to go up to 50 AU, so we're going to have sort of three sort of sets of rings all flying around. So this is where planets are going to form. So how fast can this actually run? Can we go? Is it going to let us run fast? Oh, it does. Right, okay. So we've got a brand new solar system forming. We've got plenty of material to work with. So now we need to form some planets. So planet-wise, what are we thinking? So we've got a nice sort of set of rings here. Background-wise, I'm just going to put that to default. I want to just get rid of that. How do you do it in this update? Oh, yeah, background. That's it, yeah. Just stars. Okay, cool. Right, so open up the menu, and now, because the factor in update 23, we have an access to a whole different load of objects which we don't have in the current version of the game. So this is going to be pretty cool. So we've got loads of objects we've not seen for a long time. So we've got the fire god. We're definitely going to be spawning that in. I mean, if I just search god, we've got all of the crazy cloud objects from back in the day. So I'm thinking I'm going to spawn in some objects here. So first planets to form, we're going to form... Actually, no, we're going to do it the traditional way. We're going to have gas giants form first. So we're going to sort of use our own solar system's history as a sort of design layout for this. So we're going to have... What should we go with? I think we'll make it quite similar to our own solar system. We'll go 5 or 6 gas giants, but I'm not sure if all of them are going to last. Remember, that's the thing with this series. If an object spawns and it gets ejected, it's gone. I don't pull it back. It's gone. So we're going to see how this works. So what are we thinking? What gas giants? We want something large, but we'll go with something quite pretty looking as well. So I do have access to all of the banded variants, or a decent amount of banded variants. So what should we go with? I'm thinking, okay, we'll start with banded 27. So we'll go at a fair distance. We're going to form it fairly close to the star. That's where all the material would normally be. So we're going to form it at 6 AU. There's our first gas giant. Then I'm going to also spawn in a secondary gas giant, which is fairly close as well. So that gas giant's definitely in there. Wasp 6B. Why don't we try that? So we're going to form that second gas giant out. Then we're going to try another one. We're going to form them just further and further out. And then onto ice giants. Well, we'll have a few ice giants. So we'll go with... Where's... I just saw one I wanted to use. It was... this banded 26. I want to spawn you in there. Now, what else? I mean, I want to have fairly sort of more realistic looking colours, but I mean, have we got any other ones we could try? Oh, there is a custom Neptune. We're going to use the blue tinted Neptune. So it's not Neptune, it's got a tint on it, it's not the same, and I never actually used that one as a custom Neptune, so it's all good. And then lastly, we'll go with one of Gigaman's objects. We're going to spawn that as our furthest sort of gas giant out there. So we've now got gas giants that have formed, because obviously gas giants would normally form first and start sucking up the material. So that's what we have first. So first, if you have our lineup, obviously very, very dark, but yeah, there you are. So we'll just go in here. So here we go. So this is our sort of, and this is the sizes they all are. So we've got some fairly large gas giants. We've got a small, Neptune's actually the smallest of the gas giants, and judging by that, I do want to have slightly small ones. I do think they're a little too large, so I'm going to have, we'll make those guys a little smaller. So there we go. I think that's a nice sort of range of gas giants there. I think banded 27. I want to make you a little bigger. So this could be more of a, something like that. Maybe. And Neptune is the smallest one. Then so we've got 4 sort of ice giant lookalikes, and we've got 2 more traditional gas giant sort of designs. But I mean, they're all unique. I mean, it's cool. So there you are. Okay, so that's our lineup of gas giants for this simulation. So there you are. And also these guys, they would start to eat up some of that planetary material, wouldn't they? So there you are. Obviously, the simulation's really going to struggle to run with this many particles going on. So let's just let things calm down a bit. So we're going to slow it down. Okay, so now onto an inner solar system area. So how's this, guys? This is the closest planet to the sun, so it's 296. I think the largest... Actually, what is the largest mass-wise? But who is our dominant gas giant? Because we always have a dominant gas giant in one of these. It's always going to be the gas giant with the most mass, so it's going to be basically the equivalent of Jupiter. So if we go to mass, the dominant gas giant is actually this one here. So it's at 1.13 Jupiters. Even though it's slightly smaller, it's actually the dominant gas giant. So if we look here, 318 Earths, that's basically a Jupiter. We look at this one, banded 27. Was 6b, it's the largest, but it's not the most dominant. So yeah, dominant gas giant is Gigaman's object here. So that would be the one to look out for causing trouble. And it's actually the most distant, which is surprising. But yeah, there you are. For the terms though, I'm actually going to nerf it. The furthest object out shouldn't be the most massive. The most massive in theory should be one of the closer ones. So we're going to buff WAS 6b up a bit. So there you are. I'm going to make it. This should be dominant gas giant because it's one of the closest. So it's either, yeah. So now if we go back to radius, or mass, sorry, dominant gas giant is this one, which is the largest planet. So there, that makes more sense. So there you are. The planet, and it was the first one that formed, or one of the first that formed. So in theory, it would make sense that this one gets more of the material. I mean, this one is slightly closer, but that's just the way we're going to do it. So there you are. Okay, so cool. So we're just going to let that speed up. So now onto an inner solar system. Planet-wise, what are we thinking? That Korot 7b does look so good. Yeah, we're going to do it. Closest planet to the sun. Going to spawn it there. It's Korot 7b. Then we're also going to spawn in one of the god planets. We've got, remember the fire gods. So, remember these guys? Haven't seen them in a long time. We're going to have some more habitable planets in here as well. So, I'm going to throw a few of those in. But I'm going to have 2 sort of planets very close to the star here. So, they're going to form there. And then onto the other inner planets. So we'll go with some random ones. We'll go with Beowulf, which is a nice one here. We'll go with Capuldo, which is also another sort of nice rocky planet. So we have a fair amount of Rockies in here, but who's to say they may not all make it to the end? That's always the thing with this series. It can be very unpredictable. We have no idea if these objects will make it to the end or not. So it will be interesting to see what does and what doesn't. What about this one? Cryotopia. Let's try that. That was quite a cool one. Any other Rockies? I mean, we could have some further out as well. So I'm gonna form some Rockies in the gas giant sort of area, but obviously there's not going to be as many out here. So we'll throw a few of the Kepler objects out here. Why not? But I don't want to go too crazy with them. And then I think maybe one more, and then we'll go over some random dwarf planet objects. So this one's called Pretty. So I'm gonna what's all that? I can't even remember half of these because I mean I haven't seen these objects for a long time. I had to import them off a USB. So I have not seen these guys in a very, very long time. Okay, so I think that's maybe enough of the customs. And then we'll go with the normal sort of random moons. So we're going to have like a dwarf planet sort of system at the back here. Because we always like to see the dwarf planets because they're quite interesting to see how their orbits change over time. So we've got a nice sort of dwarf planet system at the back there. So there you are. Okay, so our full lineup is now this. So we've got gas giants. We've obviously got some rocky planets in there as well. Some of them are looking quite interesting actually. Okay, some of them may not have loaded actually. So this is closest planet to the sun, so Korot 7b. So does this one Does this one retain its clouds or atmosphere? I think it's probably because it's not hot enough yet. It needs to warm up before it gets its crazy clouds. So we've got a Korot 7b. It's already 160 degrees. So even with a protostar, it's pretty warm. Hell God, second planet out. That looks absolutely amazing. Cryotopia, minus 103 degrees. Sea God. Obviously, they need their clouds to warm up before they actually get all of their cool appearances. So there you are. So they're all frozen up, which makes sense. So they're all newly formed, obviously. So this, obviously, after they cool down, obviously we can't have them all as the effect of all burning hot at the same time. I think we're missing one more planet in this sort of area. Let's go with Trantor. I know that was always a cool. I would always like that one. So there we go. So that's our third planet from the star. Okay, so there we go. So now we've got our planets that have formed in our system. We can delete that sort of field. So our planets have formed. Obviously, all that material is mostly gone. So there we go. Or it's mostly irrelevant now. So there is our system. So we're going to go ahead and save. So this is birth to death. Yep, so we'll just replace that. Okay, cool. So now if we look on orbits, there is our system. So it's all looking fairly nice and clear, but now it's time to evolve. Let's let time pass and start to see as orbits change. So we don't know what's going to happen. We could see some ejections. We could see a collision. You can already start to see someone has been affected there. So this is one of the planets that's formed further out. So what has happened with this one? It's having a close interaction with WASP 6b, which remember is our dominant gas giant. So that is going to be causing some issues with that planet, and it could see an ejection, it could see a twisted orbit. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's not looking too good there. So I have to just see how that one evolves. And then onto the outer solar system, we can probably see at some of these. That orbit is really not liking that position. I don't see that object making it to the end. I have to say, you can see its orbit is really being hurt by that dominant gas giant in there. So that's not looking good. How we're looking on the inner solar system, you can see there's a little bit of a wobble going on with Korot 7b in there as well. So that's not looking too good. But onto the outer solar system as well, you can see orbits are already changing. It's constantly changing. Nothing is staying the same in the outer system. You can see those orbits are having some serious changes. You can see there's something going on over here. So we can see at one of the rocky planets, or one of the dwarf planets, I'd say, is having an interaction with Gigaman's object here, which is still a fairly large force to be reckoned with at 89 Earths. So you can see it's having interactions with some of the dwarf planets in that part of the system, as being one of the only gas giants out there. So there we are. And also just a fact as well, guys, we cannot change the trail colours, unfortunately, so it may be a little harder to keep up with what object is what, but apologies for that. There's nothing we can do, because back in this version of the game, the only way to do it was modify objects in the files. Couldn't do it in-game at this point, so yeah, apologies for that. But you can still see and make out a few of them, so that's okay. And also, we know roughly where everything is. Capoodle here, that one's got a modified trail. So maybe since it's got the blue one, maybe this is going to be a place for life in the future, once our star starts to warm up. So right, there we go. Let's actually just let time evolve. Okay, this is the fastest we can evolve time at the moment. So you can see we can run it at a decent pace, which is good. But you can see those orbits they're not looking too good. Some of them. So there we are. But now I think it's time. We're going to obviously save our evolutions. It's always useful to save in these because we don't want any bugs happening. So it's always useful to save. But I think the star itself, I think it's time to start growing a bit. So remember, the mass is locked, but I think the radius, you can start to see the luminosity is getting increased. If we go to suns. So here we go. So you can see, it did cool down a bit. Can we make it a little bigger? That luminosity, so the luminosity is starting to grow. So here we go. So we can go up to, so it's just gone to 2 suns. We can see that's maybe a little too much. So we're going to roughly sit around, we'll evolve time. So 1.7 suns. We've had a gradual bigger increase in temperature there. So if we look at the zone, there you go. So the warm area, obviously, how is our closest planet to the star doing? So Korot 7, we can see already it's very dangerous there. It's been warmed up by the star. It's now a very, very nasty looking world. Do not want to go there. Hell God, how are you doing? I mean, that's not looking very friendly either. I mean, look at that guy. Oh, what's going on? It's got water on it. That water shouldn't be there. Get rid of that water. Oh, what is going on with you? Play. That's very strange. I think it needs more temperature before it gets its clouds. That's probably why. Okay, so there you go. So hell God, it's all right at the moment. It's just, not looking too friendly. So 170 degrees. Korot 7b. Obviously, that's the place you do not want to be. That one. Cryotopia, next planet out. In there as well. Okay, actually, there's a planet closer. Where's that one closer gone? Oh, there it is. So it's Trantor. That's it. So minus 50 degrees. Still getting colder. So that's, not on the warmth of the star just yet. If we look at Cryotopia and then obviously further out, Beowulf, that could be a planet for possible life in the future as well. It's got a nice load of water on it. Capoodle as well. also a possible candidate. So there's a few possible candidates in here, and that's probably the end of the inner solar system because the next planet out is banded 27. So there you go. Okay, so just let time advance as well. You can still see that planet is hanging on, that green trailed one that's having an interaction with the dominant gas giants. If we let time play out again as well, you can still see the orbits are changing. So we'll run this as fast as we possibly can here. Come on, game. Is there anything? You can still see the orbits and not changing. I really don't see that object lasting, I have to say. I really do not see it lasting. Oh dear, oh dear. So we're coming up to like 10,000 years of random simulation time. Obviously, in the scale of things, that 10,000 years isn't very much. So we will have to just see. Can we learn more? You can adjust more accuracy. So we could mess with this settings. It's simulation and more. So if we go to simulation, settings and more, I don't know where was it. There's an option you can change that changes how the simulation can run, so you can actually make things run faster. So I'm just trying to work out where it was. Is it? It's not in view, is it? Gravity time. I can't remember how you access it. That's annoying. So I have to let that. Is that menu going to come up again? Okay, so learn more. So it's in simulation more. So it should be under more and selecting a different tuning profile. Advanced? See, I don't know where that is. We're in simulation. We're in the settings. So that's the settings there. But I'm not exactly sure where it is. Which is a bit annoying. Because there was definitely... Or is it this one? I think it's that menu there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to save before we start mucking around with this. Because this could upset things a bit. So it's this option here. I think it's this option here. So if I speed things up, yeah, that does speed things up. You can start to see time is evolving. So there you go. Okay, so that's a way more sort of violent action there. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty sure time. It is definitely time. It's definitely this option here. Okay, so you can see that things are really getting jolty in there. So yeah, we'll leave that the way it is. So we'll just close these menus. So yeah, it's definitely this option here that does it as far as I know. So there you are. So we can really see it orbits here. We can start to see it stuff. We're coming up to 20,000 years of random simulation time now. So you can see it, yeah, the orbits at the outer area of the system as well. They're not looking too good either. You can see it, stuff is getting inclined. So not looking good. So if we close that now. So the inner solar system is looking fairly comfortable actually, which is quite surprising. But well, maybe we should have a random event, because we've done these before. A random event in our solar system where if we go to tools and we go for a sneaky shrink, because remember it happened in our solar system theoretically where Jupiter and Saturn, they did actually approach the sun at one point, and then they sort of counteracted each other and pushed each other out. But we're going to go with that in our system, so we're going to shrink once, so that makes everything a little closer together, so that could prompt a little more action to take place. So that should be interesting. Also at the same time, I'm going to go for a save. So save it, and I think the star itself needs a bit of an evolution as well. So we're going to make it larger. So that's going to also spike up its luminosity, as we can see. So that's we're gonna go further out. So if we look at its luminosity here, you can see the blue zone is expanding. So we're going to get it roughly to where Capoodle is. Oh, so you can see it is fluctuating a bit there, but there you go. Okay, play. So now we should start to see it. Stuff is warming up. So core at 7B's in the 400 degrees. Hell God, 259. So we can see it. The clouds, it's very, very vicious clouds have risen. So there it is. Looking very, very monstrous indeed. Are we on realistic? There you go. That's better. So we've got that guy there. Next planet out is Trantor. So this is at 33 degrees right now. So possible life place here. It's still frozen. This is back in the days of the old glitch actually. So we may still have to deal with that frozen nonsense, but not this time, apparently. So there you go. So this is currently a world for life. It may look a little vicious, but it's got the temperature. It's got the oceans, as far as we can see. It's a little frozen, but you can see, yeah, that's how it should roughly look. But obviously the clouds have gone, but it still has the oceans. So it's 47 degrees here. Stat-wise, it should be fairly comfortable at the moment for life, but that may not last. It's also got city lights on it as well. Cool. So Trantor, current life position, Cryotopia. This world's woken up as well. Look at that. But earlier it was all dry, but now it's got oceans. It's got blue, vibrant clouds. So this is also a life location in the system at the moment. So it's 93 similarity. Life likelihood's quite low, probably because the temperature's a little weird. But yeah, Cryotopia, that's a world for life. Sea God, next world out. Nice ocean world here, I'm guessing. There you go. Let's look underneath. Has it got... Oh, it has land. Okay, cool. So there's Sea God. It's got a lot of ocean, but that's also a world for life. So we've got plenty of worlds for life in here. Beowulf, how are you doing? Next planet out. We can see minus 89 degrees. So there's no temperature here just yet. It's similar to Earth, or very, very similar to Earth, this planet is. So atmosphere... It's not obviously the most intense. We'll give it a little cheeky buff. Just to hopefully give it a bit of extra temperature. So it's warming up. So hopefully we could see some action there. And that's obviously roughly it. I doubt Capoodle, next planet out, that's even colder. So yeah, the habitable zone has reached out to Sea God now, which is pretty cool. So let's let time evolve once more. So let's go. So the inner solar system, I'm very surprised how close the inner solar system is without any orbital problems. I mean, all the objects are sitting very, very comfortably there, which I thought is very interesting, because I thought there would have been some sort of change. We put them fairly close together, but yeah, they seem to be hanging on fairly nicely. But if we let things run here, so maximum speed, we can still see a few things are just hanging on there, but nothing's really been crazily bent or put out of shape just yet, which is yeah, I thought we would have seen more, I have to say. So maybe we need another little prompt. Just another little slight prompt of shrink. Because it can happen. So it's not just us mucking around. It, in theory, can happen. So, I'm going to shrink it again. So that will put objects in even more close proximity to each other. So that should hopefully be what we need. So you can see a lot of orbits are shaking now. I'm really surprised the gas giants haven't had bigger impacts on each other. Being in there. But yeah, that's just the way this simulation has chosen to play out. Remember, every simulation, every time we do one of these, it's always going to be different results. It's never going to be the same. So there we are. How are we doing on the inner part? I think Korot should be fairly, yeah, very, very dangerous in temperature here. Because we did give it a slight increase. But yeah, it looks menacing, doesn't it? That yellow atmosphere, those dangerous red clouds. Does look really dangerous stuff. So looking at a full lineup of the planets, there's our full lineup there. So we've got, so obviously the cloud objects are looking good. What is this pretty object? How did this one turn out? Must be named pretty for a reason. Yeah, oh, it does look pretty actually. So it's actually a gas giant with a atmosphere. It's one of those old modded objects, so pretty cool. And it does look really nice actually. So there it is. Okay, cool. So how are we doing on the inner? Beowulf, any temperature there? Minus 60. Yes, it's still too cold there at the moment. Okay, okay, nice. So let's let things evolve still. And then I think we'll go to the final evolution of the star before we finish off today's episode as well. So we'll go ahead and save. Do that. Save. Good. I just saw some orbits change in the outer part there, so that's interesting. Anything gonna happen? Come on. Ooh, I think we need to prompt the star a bit more, I have to say. So, star, how you doing? Right. It's 2.88 suns, but remember, Arcturus, it's gonna get bigger. It's going to get more violent and dangerous. So, habitable zone. There you go. Okay, so luminosity. Now we want to increase radius. So you notice in this version of the game, the stars are way more cooperative than when we done it in the modern versions of the game. I don't know why, but they seem to just cooperate a lot more, which is really weird. So we can see that. There you go. So the banded 27. So the first of the gas giants is now in the stars sort of blue zone play. So this we'll probably start to see some changes of how. I don't think some of those rocky planets are going to last too long. Especially within that closer range. So 500 degrees. So we're in Venus temperatures now for the closer two planets. Trantor is uninhabitable now. 206. Cryotopia. It's getting a bit too hot here. Minus 60 degrees. So it's going to get... It still does look pretty. But it's not going to last too long soon because it's getting hotter as our star evolves. So... Let's just slow things down. There it is. So yeah, it's not going to be too long before it's uninhabitable here. It's going to get too hot. So although it's a gorgeous looking world, that blue sky is destined to be, or it's not destined to last much longer, I don't think. So there we are. Sea God, how are you doing? 81 degrees at Sea God. So again, a similar fate to Cryotopia. They're going to be sort of sister planets in this. They're very, very similar in their design as well. So pretty cool stuff. Next out, we had Beowulf. So minus 30. So it still hasn't fully woken up here yet, which is quite interesting. So it's still cold. possible safe haven for life in the future. Then we have Capoodle, minus 34 degrees there as well. And then lastly, Bandit 27. This is now in range of the star as well, remember. So we may start to see some warmth build up here eventually. So, it's still getting a bit colder though. You can still see it, this orbit here is all over the place. And that's a possible candidate for life as well if it can manage to hold on. So, will be interesting. I can't believe that gas giant hasn't done anything to it. I think this world has been very, very lucky in regards to that. Okay, so let's continue. Let time evolve before we finish up for today's episode, guys. So, really hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've got to say, it's good to be back doing this series in because I know you guys really, really like it. And also, any feedback, suggestions, let me know down below in the comments because I'm always reading those comments. So, yeah, let me know what your thoughts and opinions are on this series, and yeah, maybe things we could do. Maybe we should do another binary again, or maybe a trinary. Let me know down below in the comments what sort of other scenarios you want us to start with this series, and yeah, hopefully I can get around to doing that in the near future, guys. So yeah, please let me know down below in the comments. I'm very, very happy to read what you guys have to say there. And yeah, guys, with that all said and done, we're going to pause it for today. So at 32,000 years of random simulation time now, actually. Oh, so there you are. So we're going to just do that, save it, and that's where we'll leave off for today. But yeah, if that all said and done, guys, like I said, any feedback, let me know down below in the comments. If you like this video, let's see if we can go for 30 likes, and also subscribe for more. Help us on the journey to 23,000 subscribers. And yeah, if that all said and done, guys, make sure you have a great day. Stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.